Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here this morning. I have been called one that have the ability to gab, meaning that I can really talk a lot. I can get on a subject and defend it either way. But I have kind of agreed with that. One of the things that I thought I would actually be able to do is to be able to persuade the American people about a better way of life than we have today, and that they would accept it. I would watch people who listen to these different religions, and each of these different religions have all kinds of membership. They're different religions, different memberships. So these people are believing different things, all kinds of things, and the truth of it is, regardless of what they're believing, it has its effect on them, and we see that every day. So I'm thinking, hey, to me, I know what I want. I can assume that everybody else wants these things that are basic. So let me get out here, and I'll do it. I've had that feeling that I would be able to be persuasive in that regard. I remember as a kid growing up on a plantation in Mississippi. One, I think it was called a Dubois plantation, and maybe another, what we call Mr. Giss plantation. And this was living conditions where we, back in the 50s, lived, and yes, we were poor on a plantation. You can imagine we were poor. But there were white people on the plantation that were just as poor as us. We all get around an apple tree trying to get up apples and feed our bellies with some apples, and we walk around with nappy hair. Our hair might be nappy, their hair nappy. We might have been snotty nosed, they were snotty nosed, greasy just like we were greasy. And we were just a group of people. We didn't see it as being poor or anything like that. In fact, we didn't know anything was different until you start seeing magazines, Sears Roebuck magazine and Spiegel catalogs. You start opening those things up, you start seeing stuff, you start wondering, what is this? Where does this come from? Then you start seeing pictures of people. They didn't look like us, but they were people that we had seen, so we knew that they were people. And they were ones and we saw this, and all we could do was imagine. Well, that was our experience when we started coming up. Uh, so when it came down to poverty, it was, as far as I understand it, anybody could be poor. So I remember when I went to elementary school, I became a defender of people who were afraid. I stood up for people. Anybody want to jump on a girl, I hear about it, I'm going to defend these girls. And if I saw a fight finna start, and you could tell that one of the guys who were in the fight didn't want to fight, was scared, and you saw it was being bullied into a fight, if I were there, I was going to stand up for that guy. So I was just going to defend those who needed it. That was always my cup of tea. Yeah, and then we sometimes, well, for me especially, I carried that with me throughout my life. Whenever and however, why do you think I try to engage myself in politics? I saw what was going on, actually. And this morning, I'm out there shoveling snow. Shoveling snow. Now, I just had a heart attack about 2 months ago. You're not supposed to be shoveling snow. They're trying to work me in through some program to build me back up, work my heart back up, I guess. But what do I say? I'm saying these kinds of things because there's so much that people are missing as far as healthcare is concerned. The day before I had the heart attack, I was supposed to go into the hospital for a hernia. But because of the heart attack, it took precedence, and because he's dealing with blood thinners, the hernia is postponed, being dealt with. And you walk around with, hey man, and I'm out here dealing with snow. I'm just saying, baby, that healthcare, there are not enough facilities, there are not enough personnel out here to deal with the problems of sickness. Then there are not enough scientists. And I'm just thinking about, while I'm saying this, I'm thinking about the food that DeSantis and the stuff that they treat the soil with, that they treat plants with to make food last and be around for people to have to eat. That's a wonderful thing. That was a wonderful discovery. And so we might want to knock it because we like organic, but for the kinds of situation that we find ourselves in, what they do served a purpose. But they weren't supposed to stop there. They were supposed to, at the same time, since they know it's going to affect the food, that's going to affect the people that eat the food, they should come up with something that would detoxify everything that's been toxified by their chemicals in the creative process. Before it go in that body, it is detoxified, and you don't have that to worry about. This is what they should. I'm surprised people didn't think about doing that just as a means of making money. Probably some other reason they say that they want you to get sick. Anyway, these are the kind of things that we're confronted with now. What I really want to say to you today, ladies and gentlemen, is about our political stuff. I'm talking about the stuff that affects us all. Affects us all. When Donald Trump sought after the presidency, now let me listen to me good. When Donald Trump sought after the presidency, everyone knew he was crooked. Everyone knows that he is crooked. If they didn't know before, now they know he is a bona fide crook. But this is what the American people wanted. Or should I say, this is what the Republicans wanted. And white Republicans at that. And some black ones. Conservatives. Mega Republicans. They wanted a crook to be president. They wanted a liar. They wanted a cheat. They wanted a thief. They wanted a bigot. They wanted a racist. They wanted a hater. They wanted a killer. Anyone that would fight against everyone for their benefit. And Trump would do it. Now, why were these people in this position? Why are they feeling like this? They are feeling like this because they are living in the same America that all of us are living in. The outcome, the effect of the American system on their lives have put them in a position that they hate. All of this stuff goes on. This is what the American system has created. Now, you might say, well, it didn't do it to me, but it affected them in the way that they feel. And so what they are saying is that this system has failed us, so it's crooked. So what we need is a bigger crook. You've heard the expression, when they go low, if you want to win, you got to go lower. Somebody say, go high. Well, you know what, that's like the truth getting out. The truth ain't going to never get out, going to take forever. But the people say, if you want to really win, you got to go lower. That's what the Republicans doing. They're trying to get as low as they can go. And they are challenging the Democrats to go lower than that. And if you keep on going lower, by the time you wake up, everybody's in the depths of hell. Nothing but going lower. But see, that's what's going on. That's the game that's being played, and the American people do not know it. They said, give us this crook. We want this crook. Republicans, conservatives, negatives. What were they trying to do? They wanted Donald Trump again because they wanted him to overthrow the system for white people. They wanted him to come in. He knew that. He might not even be all these things, but he showed riding it. I'll come in. I'll put the niggas in their place. I'll take care of all these people coming out of doing this and doing that and protect you white people. And they say, that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Now, this is what they wanted to be government. Now, when they couldn't win that election through that stuff, they decided to overthrow the government. When they say overthrow the government, that was to take over the government with people who are haters, the racists, the bigots. They wanted to take over so then they could put everybody else in their place. When they couldn't win the election, Then they went and tried to take over the government to fighting each other so they could see who gonna put the niggers or the people of color in their place. Because that's all they talking about doing. If you notice all the rules and regulations they're trying to change is to put people back in bondage. Put people back in bondage. This is what the Republicans wanted. When you think about them today, what do they have to offer you? Can they offer everybody a job? Do they have a plan or proposal? No, they don't even believe in that. That's why they call themselves conservatives. They think they're God. God, excuse me, God didn't get their permission before God started creating stuff. God didn't get their permission to do any of that. And for them to start saying, what if God knows that food is needed here, one thing run out, ain't nothing else gonna be here? No, that's the way men do it, because they want to run up on price on the stuff that's remaining. But God got this. And they want to play God. So that's why they keep playing this game. They're still playing the game, ladies and gentlemen. This game right now against God is being played by those who got money. It's being played here in America by Republicans, white folks, Republicans, white folks, Democrats, and some black folks, Republicans, and some black folks, Democrats, are totally against the system. Now, me, myself, because you hear me talking all the time, am I against the system? Of course I'm against the system. Why am I against the system? Because this system is against God. I can talk about Republicans because I know right now the position that they're playing is they're the worst system. They're the worst bigots in America today. Now, there were times when they weren't the worst, but today they're the worst. Democrats, they are evil just like Republicans, but they are not the worst. They're not as bad. That's the difference. That's the only difference between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats are not as bad. And every one of them, Republicans and Democrats, are playing a game with God. Now, I know they don't want to hear that. I know. I don't care how much mega preachers you got. I don't care how much prosperity preachers you got. I don't care what kind of preachers you got. Every last one of them playing a game with God. Just like the people. The people sitting up in these churches, they're playing a game with God. People who don't even go to church, they're playing a game with God. You see, what basically you need to understand is that you got a system like your physical system. There are laws that operate that system. To live a life where you have peace and prosperity and freedom and joy and happiness and your dreams come true, you're living those dreams. That's the result of a system that you have to follow. A system, a basic, simple system of treating people like you want to be treated. Treating people like you want to be treated. And to keep your eye on the prize, the power source is invisible. So you ain't got to look up at no man, that no man deceive you, white or black, no human being deceive you, man or female. Because the power is invisible. And you don't allow that power to live in you. Now, some people say, what does that mean? Well, I was thinking this morning, I heard something on the news. They were saying Russia pushing citizens of Russians to go into Ukraine and fight, guys who don't want to. And they are being forced to go in and fight. We can't look down on Russia for that. We got the same thing. When we had a draft, they draft you, baby. You go to war. You go to war, then you try to run away and don't fight, they'll shoot you. At least this is what the information goes. And this is what they're saying about Russia. This is the information that's being given. They're saying even if you go and get captured, you don't surrender. You take 2 grenades with you. I guess 1 grenade is for your enemy and 1 is for yourself. But if you get captured, you don't come back alive. Somebody pays. And now, can you imagine what they're saying? That system of government, you commit yourself to it, you die for it, and you ain't even got a house. You don't even have health care. You don't even have education benefits. You don't have food adequately. You just a tool to be used if in Russia, whatever Putin wants y'all to do. In America, they want to make sure whatever white folks want you to do. You just a tool. When God is telling you, invisible God is telling you, resist it. Resist it. If they would tell you go off into that military and kill for them or die for them, or they will kill you if you don't, and you out of whatever your commitment or whatever, I want you to know God requires the same type of commitment, the same loyalty. Stand up. If somebody out there trying to take home, making sure folks ain't got no house, you stand up. That's what you mean. You stand up and say, no, we're not going for that. Everybody got to have a house. Every last one of you stand up for that. Talking about education, everybody got to be educated. When people are educated, they are better, they're smarter. They can serve the humanity better. And it's our responsibility to look after ourselves by making sure that those who come off into society are ready. And we've prepared them. We've given them everything we got. And we have allowed them to choose a career that gives them their greatest joy. So the whole world is blessed. Now, we got to make sure everybody got an education. What snake, what demon would say you can't have an education? We're going to take education from you because it's too expensive. If it's too expensive, then remove the money. And anything that's too expensive, remove the money. Anything that's too expensive, remove the money. Doggone it. You'll stand up for your country, but you won't stand up for God. God has said that you could have, he's prepared. God is prepared. Forgive me for saying he. I don't know what God is. I just know his power. Look, I don't know what God is. I just know God is power. But you've been provided for. The only thing that is missing is you, we the people, having the understanding how to grasp it and use it. We're being led by some turkey like Putin, or some system of government like communism or socialism or democracy. You say democracy? Yeah. If this, what we live in, represents democracy, what else can I say about it? Seriously, if what we live in represents democracy, what else can I say about it any different than what I say about communism or socialism? They're just different forms, but they have the same outcome. So, let me see, what is there? Is there one main subject I want to leave with you today? Well, your life is dependent, number one, on you. And who you are, how you are interconnected with one another, determines how that life really is. The young people of today, according to what America is doing from the southern states, as from this political talk, has nothing to do with progress. It has nothing to do with advancement. It's destruction. And I want you to think, all of America, think about America. I know you want to give white people the blessings for all the good stuff that has been done in this country. That's because they've claimed it, the good. But they haven't done anything by themselves. Nothing. But at the same time, the rest of the people, you cannot just put your anger on white people, because God is real. And God says, do unto others as you'd have others do unto you. That was two messages. That message to the white people was saying, don't treat black people the way you want to treat them. That's wrong. But God was also saying to the black people and other people, don't listen to that devil. Man, before you do that, come on back home. But nobody ever told you that. Well, except Jesus, except that story in the book about Jesus. Jesus said, come on back home. But they don't tell you that. When preachers talk to you that, they don't tell you Jesus' message will come on back home. They tell you Jesus said, if you believe, you can keep on living, everything be fine. Golly. Anyway, I'm sorry if I wasted your time. But I tell you this, it was just fine for me. Till next time, Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.